The problem with a hard decision isn't the decision. It's where you're standing when you look at it. You've been sitting on something for a month, maybe 6, a year if you're being honest with yourself. You tell yourself you're still weighing it. You're not. What you're actually doing is standing too close to see it. And you're starting to forget what the rest of the room even looked like. Bezos figured this out at 30. He only had to imagine himself at 80. Spring 1994. Bezos is 30 years old, senior vice president at a Manhattan hedge fund called D.E. Shaw. Mid-year, mid-bonus cycle. The kind of job most people would not walk away from. He has an idea for an online bookstore. He tells his boss. They go for a walk in Central Park. They walk for about 2 hours. His boss, David Shaw, says, "That sounds like a really good idea, but it would be an even better idea for someone who didn't already have a good job." 48 hours to think about it. That's where Bezos reaches for the tool. He called it, his words, not mine, the Regret Minimisation Framework. Only a nerd, he said, would call it that. He was right on both counts. Regret doesn't weigh itself the same every year. It weighs itself differently at 30, differently at 50. And by the time you get to 80, it weighs itself in a way that would surprise you now if you could hear it. Think about the things you've tried and got wrong. The business that didn't work, the project that went sideways, the offer you accepted and regretted for 6 months after. You paid for those. You accepted them. You moved on. They're closed files. Now think about the things you didn't try. The job you almost took. The conversation you almost had with the person who eventually drifted off. The move you almost made but talked yourself out of at the last minute. The thing you nearly said and then swallowed and went home wondering about. Those files are still open at 40, still open at 65, still open at 78, 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling. They don't close. That's the part nobody tells you about them. They stay live for as long as you stay alive. That's the asymmetry. Failure has an end. Omission loops. Bezos figured this out in 48 hours. He pictured himself at 80, looking back, not at who he hoped to become, but at what he chose. Then he ran one comparison. Which regret has no end? In his own words, "I knew the one thing I might regret is not ever having tried. I knew that that would haunt me every day." You don't wake up at 70 still arguing with the year you tried something. You wake up at 70 still arguing with the year you didn't. So here is what the framework actually does. It is not a bravery tool. It is not about being bold. It is a certainty calculation about which regrets end and which ones do not. At 30, the things in front of you look enormous. At 80, those same things are not in the ledger. Not because you've forgotten, because they were never the variables that mattered. They looked like variables at 30. They turned out to be props. Bezos forfeited his year-end payout by leaving mid-year. At 30, that bonus was a wall. He has said, in retrospect, that at 80, he has never thought about it. Not once. That 1994 bonus has never appeared in the ledger of things he regrets. It was never going to. The small room makes the small costs feel enormous. That's how attention works. Which means the decision that felt hard at 30 was not actually hard. It was close. And close feels hard when you're standing inside it. At 80, close is just close. Nothing changed between the 30-year-old Bezos and the 80-year-old Bezos, except where he was standing. The variables stayed the same. Their weights did not. The bonus weighed more at 30 because his attention was on it. At 80, his attention was elsewhere. The framework let him borrow the 80-year-old's attention in advance and decide from there. That calculation has a simpler name when you run it. It sorts. The 80-year-old self is not a coach yelling at you to be brave. They have been dead quiet for 50 years on that particular question. The bravery tape plays loud at 30. At 80, it's silent. They are here to sort, to tell you which fights still matter and which ones stopped mattering a long time ago. Some days the projection tells you to act on a thing you've been holding back from. The business, the move, the conversation you've been rehearsing for 6 months without actually having. Other days it tells you something harder. It tells you to set down something you've been fighting for years, something the older version of you doesn't recognize anymore. The partnership that keeps failing, the project you've been rescuing, the fight that has owned you longer than it has been worth owning, the apology you're still waiting for, the version of yourself you stopped being a decade ago but are still carrying around. Letting go is not failure, it is clarity. And that is the whole move. It is not bravery, it is sorting. Same tool, both directions. Here is the move. Pick one decision you've been dragging. Not the hardest one, the stickiest. The one that's been sitting in you for a month, or 6 months, or longer than you want to admit. Project yourself to 80. Sit in a quiet room. Look back at this week. Ask which answer has no end. If acting has an end and not acting loops, you act. If the fight has no end and stepping back has one, you step back. The framework doesn't care which direction you decide. It cares that you decide from the right vantage point. The vantage point is the only variable you actually control. The rest is weights. The hard part was never the decision. It was where you were standing when you looked at it. So tomorrow morning, before the day pulls you under, pick one. Picture the room at 80. Ask the question. You'll know by noon. If this helped, subscribe. One stone a day.